Do you smoke alive on the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the laws in Texas anymore? I don't even understand.
Oh, this is all legal CBD and hemp products that we're smoking.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Can't tell if you're being serious.
Also, we record this podcast in a remote location in Colorado every Sunday.
Oh
Not a lot
wow.
of people
I
know
see.
that. Gabe
I
and
see.
I and fly our guests out of town
Yep.
I mean,
to Colorado to record this podcast.
I guess you got to get your story straight in case someone litigates this.
Correct.
But
But this is all a production. This is all for stage. So none of
Yeah,
this
this is
real.
parody.
I always wonder why they didn't just smoke real weed in movies. Like, how could you tell?
Yeah, it's all parody weed.
They do.
No, I mean
they don't.
They didn't as much,
Correct.
probably.
Why are you asking weird questions like that, man?
I was just fucking asking because I'm worried about it. Have you guys performed at the Green Room up north yet?
Not yet.
No, but I want to.
Well, just ask. Ask DJ Chaotic
Okay.
or Ty. Ty is connected to the.
Okay.
But yeah, they just smoke. Yeah, Ty Win. They just smoke openly in that bar. It's like a weed bar. But it's the same thing that you guys said. Oh, it's the legal. But they're fucking smoking weed, and it's up in Williamson County, which is where you go to prison for just that.
Yeah.
Not prison, but you'll spend a night in
But
jail.
yeah, anything outside of Travis is
Sketchy.
iffy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very bizarre. And they told me that there's just so much crime up there that the cops are like, well, whatever.
They don't have time.
I don't have time for that shit. But it's a fucking business.
Also, yeah, they're advertising. So I mean, hide in plain sight.
I guess.
You know.
It freaks me out every time.
But if you've got that established as like, oh, we're selling legal shit here, then there's no reason for anybody to be sniffing around because it's like it's in every way other than a lab test. It's the same, right?
Right? Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
100%. Yeah, yeah. You can't tell look, smell, taste. It's all exactly the same because it's the same plant, just without the THC content.
Without the like high THC level.
Yeah. It's got to be like below 1/3 of 1% or something like, or maybe it's 3%. Maybe it's 3%. Maybe that's what it is. But something like that. It's a super low amount that it can be and still be classified as hemp.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Trippy.
I think I also saw that there's some senator or the district attorney is trying to come at a couple of the counties in
Not
Texas.
impressed.
Yeah, he's not happy at all about it.
No, I'm not impressed with him. He can fuck right.
Oh, yeah, well, he's not impressed
Yeah,
with
so
us.
the Attorney General of Texas is currently trying to sue all of the cities in Texas that have decriminalized weed
Yeah.
What?
to force them to follow state law.
Really? Well, they're gonna lose. Come on, man. Who's spending
I don't know.
time on that?
First of all, yes, right? In 2024, really, why are we putting any kind of money, effort, et cetera, into that? Also, the cities themselves aside, because clearly those cities are doing what they're doing because that's what the majority of the people in those cities would prefer. But statewide, Texas is more than 50% pro-weed.
Is it?
So fuck off.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because
close.
it's 50%
It's like-
Mexican.
It's like 55-45. Like, it's right on the line. But, yeah.
Oh, shit. That's great.
Here you go.
Even conservative Mexicans are like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
It's just weed.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as smoking on the podcast goes, we try to keep it as hinted at as possible. It's implied smoking. We try to keep like that 70s show feel about it to where the camera's on me right now.
We're not trying to highlight anybody while they're smoking.
Right, yeah. It's not like, oh, he's
It's in
taking
the
a bong hit,
background.
put
Yeah.
the camera on him, edit
Thank
to
you.
him. So, yeah.
I'm not worried about it, but
We do a good job of that.
good.
But
What
also
do you
it's
just
legal
CGI
CBD.
out the joint?
Yeah.
You write Marlboro on it
Mm-hmm.
and After Effects.
Yeah, the Stoney Baloney guy just appears in front of you every time you're.
Yeah.
I'll just draw more attention
We
to
should
it.
do that. That is fun.
Well-
actually.
What's that?
What? He was what?
No, what's that buzzing noise?
Oh, this is the Zenko.
Okay, cool. I thought it was a technical issue. Oh, do I drink this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you
You
just.
sip it. You hit it like a bong.
Yeah.
All right. What? You hit it like a bong, like this?
Yeah.
Dude, this is bringing up shit. This is bringing up weird shit for me. I immediately remember the last time I smoked crack.
Was it out of a light bulb? Because that's how I used to smoke meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh my god, that's very cool. What?
It doesn't taste like crack, which is nice.
Yeah.
Especially considering how much crack is in
podcast
there.
is over.
You know what I'm saying? That's pretty impressive.
I'm done.
Oh, the amount of times that I've taken that to smoke crack behind your back is immeasurable.
Oh, I don't feel good.
Yeah, you do. You feel wonderful. See?
You ready to tell us your story now?
Is that what you want? You tell me. This is your podcast, man.
Do it.
Oh, what do you want from me? Yeah.
You do. You want to hear my story?
Yeah.
Okay. So what?
Yes. Well, first of all, welcome to the Stoney Baloney podcast.
There we go. Okay.
Chris Castles here in the fucking Dead Cricket Studios. Welcome.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you for having me.
We do a little rundown at the beginning.
We're
So,
gonna start recording that after. I thought we were gonna start recording that at the end.
huh?
The intro. We record that at the end now. Remember how Brent told us how to do a podcast last week?
Yeah. But we're not ready for that all yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're not ready for that.
You're making me feel like I'm less high now. That's good.
Is that
It's calming me
good?
down.
Good.
I'm like, these guys are way
That's-
higher than me.
That's what we're here for. We're here to set the bar until
Yeah.
you can fall below it.
I was worried.
So you're going to tell us a story, then we're going to tell you stories. One of us is lying, one of us is telling the truth, and you have to guess who at the end.
This is gonna be so difficult.
Yeah, that's the fun.
Yeah.
Okay. My story. You said to pick a subject, and I picked natural disasters. Surviving.
Which is spectacular.
Surviving a natural disaster. So,
let's do this.
actually, crack is a good place to start. So every time I ever got involved with cocaine, I would end up doing crack. So I like ditched town.
And you're not talking to yourself. You're talking to the other me.
Uh-huh.
It's not the Gabe's podcast. It's the Scott's podcast. Yeah, that's why I try not to drink too much. Because every time I drink, I fall into a bag of cocaine, and then I come out holding a giant crack rock.
Oh, so
And then it's
disgusting.
just 3 days of bad decisions and hating myself.
Yeah.
Well, after I'm done with crack, I hate myself.
Yeah.
While I'm doing it, I love it. It's
Oh,
great time.
yeah, it's top
So
of
I'm
the world.
speaking of the
Yes.
choir here. All right. Well,
Yeah, we're
it's
family.
gross. So I've only really gone through this a couple of times to where I ended up smoking crack. So it's not like I did it a bunch, but enough to feel gross about it. And why did I bring all that up? Can we cut that out?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Uh,
That's actually, we're going to end the
leave it
podcast
pure.
right here. It's just going to be you talking about crack on the loop.
Just admitting that you smoked crack and feeling gross about it.
yeah. Well, then I cut my hand, and you can see the scar there. I cut my hand.
Oh,
Damn.
nice.
I hit an artery. I was washing dishes, and so there's 6-foot arterial spray coming out of my hand.
Oh, right.
And I held my hand up because my mom's a nurse, so I knew that was. And you all hear that if you cut an artery, you gotta
Get it up.
get it up. So I immediately pinched my hand. I covered the guy, the wombat who I worked with, is this old dishwasher guy. He got hit in the face and on his shirt with my blood.
Oh,
and was
he got blasted.
he was more shocked than I was right out the gate.
Yeah.
It took me a minute.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because seeing that coming at you.
Yeah.
That's instant, recognition.
Yeah.
Whereas your body gives you a little bit of, shock when something like that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. You usually don't get to feel the pain until you see the thing that should make you feel pain.
Dude,
and
it
you're
was-
oh, fuck!
Well, I was so I had my hands in warm water, and I had gloves on, and then I went to break the plate because it was cracked, and I'd seen cooks do it over my knee, and it did break, but it broke just a small piece where my hand was, and I
just
jammed
sliced.
it, and my hand was all wet, so it just slid right in, and so then my glove just went red, and that's when I was like fuck. And I tore the glove off and then did that, and I think I let it sprayed on him, and then I went in and it was busy, like a rush. I don't know if you guys ever worked in restaurants,
Yeah.
but it was all the line cooks, and so we were always fucking with each other, and so they thought that I had because it was such an obscene amount of blood, they thought that I had poured raspberry vinaigrette all over
the hell you're
myself
fucking
and was
around.
fucking around, and they're like, "Get the fuck off the line, Manny!" And I was Dish Pit Manny when I worked there. Because there was this lesbian that worked there named Dish Pit Annie, and I wore a blue rag like she did on my first day. So they're like, "You look like Dish Pit Annie, but you're a man. You Dish Pit Manny." And that was it. I was Manny the whole time I worked there.
Yep.
But anyway, they're like, "Get the fuck off the line." And I was freaking out because I know now it's hitting me how serious this is. And I opened my hand and just let the blood shoot out across the salad bar. And they're all just like, what the fuck? They're like, somebody take Manny to the hospital. Get the fuck off the lawn. And they had like, I watched them like breaking it down because they have to change out all
Yeah, because you just contaminated the whole thing. Every inch of it.
Yeah. So then one of the dudes was like training to be an EMT. Like he was on eggs. And he like came over and took me to the hospital. Like just fucking ran every light. And it was like exciting. And I remember I saved my pants. I don't know what happened. I had these shorts on and I had like all my blood collected on it from holding it. Because he's like, please don't bleed on my fucking truck, man. Like, I'm going to get you there. Please don't bleed, because he just bought this new truck or something. And so then I lost like a pint of blood.
Which is one of those things that's like, that's a very natural human response. Because, like, I'm worried about you, but also, like, please don't
bleed in my car.
This brand new truck, please.
Yeah. Dude, so this is just an addendum, by the way. This isn't the story. But this was the impetus for me leaving Oregon and going to Thailand, because I was like 22 and I hadn't really done much with myself, and I got all into drugs, and then that happened and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I could have died just being stupid. And so I was like, I have to do something with myself. So I went like down to the college and looked up programs for teaching English in Thailand, and I got hooked up through the community college and went and taught English in Bangkok. And when I was there, I got like paid shitty, and I like sobered up off of being like off drunk.
Yeah, because you had to.
Off the white drugs anyway. And I also, I paid him back, so I can say this, but I ripped off the dealer that I was fucking with for a bunch of coke, and used that money to go.
Yes. Yeah, that'll happen.
So he found me when I got back.
Real quick. I had a not quite that bad story, but one of the restaurants I worked in, everybody would whip each other with fucking towels in the back, like dish pit guys and the cooks. You know that, like, there was always a back and forth, right? But the cooks, we had access to towels that we cleaned up, like the oil, because it was a catfish place, right? So there was just like, fried oil everywhere, right? So those towels were the worst. You get somebody with that with a pair of jeans on, and it would leave a fucking welt that would last for a week, right? It was gnarly. Well, one day we were going back and forth and hitting each other, and this one kid who was just an idiot, he wore like cargo shorts, and you're not allowed to do that in the back, but it was like manager wasn't there one of those type of days, and he got away with it, right? But he got hit with one of those things, and it gashed his leg open. It was a gash like 4 inches wide.
Whoa,
just sliced his fucking leg open. It was the gnarliest. I didn't know you could do that with a fucking towel. I didn't do it, but it was the guy right by me, and I was also going after the same kid. So fortunately, literally the restaurant, the parking lot that's behind us was the only thing that separated us from a hospital. So same thing, we grabbed one of those towels and made a little tourniquet, tied up his leg, and somebody drove him across. But I had no idea you could do that much damage with a fucking towel. But apparently, if it's soaked in oil and sat around for a couple days, it'll slice a leg right the fuck open.
And like immediately infected.
Oh yeah, that's not good. Any of that stuff going in you is not good.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
All right.
He runs on biodiesel now.
Okay. Trying to think where I'm at, man. You guys did this to me, dude. You guys did this to me.
You're in Thailand. You just got to Thailand. You can't do drugs anymore because
I
they'll beat you to
drank
death with a cane.
Yeah, it took me a minute to get adjusted. It was a big new experience, right? And coming off drugs, and then I remember School of Rock came out around this time.
Oh, nice.
This is 2004, and there was like a Thai magazine I found that had Jack Black in School of Rock, and it was all in Thai, like talking about the movie, and it had like multiple pictures. So I had like hung those up in the apartment that they hooked me up with, because that's how I felt when I was there. Because especially being a young American,
you felt like Jack Black in Thailand.
because School of Rock came out and I was a teacher, so like I'm literally going to teach.
So they're like rock star,
star. Yeah, because I'm American and that's what's popular. So it's very. So I felt that way when I was there, and then that job didn't pay very much at the kindergarten, so I found out you could get jobs without a college degree and like just get your own job. So that meant they kicked me out of that apartment, and I like just hung out with people I met and stayed with them and kind of Kerouac it there for a while, and then I didn't have a job. When I got the job at the high school, it was starting in the next year, and so I had like a month off, and I had like no money, so I was really bumming it. And I went down with this reggae band called T-Bone to South Thailand because I told them that I was going to school to be a sound engineer, and they're like, "You're a sound engineer?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Come with us to the South Islands, and we're gonna play this reggae festival."
Fuck yeah.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it was very fun, and but I was also fucked up because I was super broke, and I'm American, so it was really rude in a certain way. Or if it was fine, everything was cool, but in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, I'm from this like place that has all this opportunity, and I'm here bumming it with them, and they all have hard lives, or they have a good attitude, Thai people. But I just learned a lot from that experience, and when I was down there, I was a sound engineer. I was very good at it, not because I'm good at being a sound engineer, but because I just turned the bass up, because it was all just like American stuff, and I knew a basic mixer. I was like, just turn the bass up, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
but they're
the
just
sound.
like lights and knobs, dude, because it's all not in their language. It was weird. They didn't know how to use it, and I don't think that I added that much to it. But they thought what I was doing was great, and I ended up doing the sound for the whole festival.
Yeah,
You had
compared to
Indian
whatever-
knowledge, which was more than what they had.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to what everybody else was doing, you were a goddamn wizard.
Yeah, which is bizarre to think, because I felt like really like I was bullshitting my way into it.
Yeah.
And you were, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
you did.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people end up in the thing that they do best, is they bullshitted their way into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Have you heard of comedy?
And this is the other thing. Have I heard of comedy? I can't smoke any more of that, dude. that fake stuff fucks me up.
It does. It gets everywhere.
It's a weird high.
It is.
It's a weird high. It's a body high.
Mind high.
So when I say
body of your
festival, it was like more like a small gathering of maybe there'd be like 100 people there, but it was like in this like Smith Family Robinson like treehouse on the beach
what the
kind
fuck?
of like bar, and
That's cool as shit.
yeah, and there would be local bands would play. There was like a local magician who I think was a little creepy with the kids.
The magician was creepy to
the
kids?
creepy was the magician was creepy. I don't know. I got a weird vibe. Some local
Have you
musicians
ever
though.
not got a weird vibe from a magician? You ever met a magician that was like, oh, that guy's
Yeah, I've
good
never met a
people behind
magician that I was
closed
like,
doors?
he should be around kids.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Hart Keen. I'll say Hart Keen's a cool magician. I got to perform with the magician once. I was just bombed for 30 minutes before his act.
Nice.
Casino. God, I like magicians. Dude. I always want to be a magician. I thought it'd be so cool. I like the trickery. Man, I'm trailing. Oh yeah, so I'm there a couple nights, and then it's Christmas, dude, and I've never been away from my family during Christmas, and I'm on the other side of the world, and I really felt that.
Yeah.
And
Plus, you were also in the middle of like trying to figure yourself out. Like a lot was happening at that time period.
definitely
Emotional whirlwind you're going through, for sure.
Yeah, and it was like it was when Bush came in and was like doing all this fucked up shit in the Iraq War and all that. So, all the really early post 9/11 stuff. And I was a radical. I was like, fuck Bush. My dad's like, you can't email that to me. What the fuck? I got mad at me. I'm like, fuck that guy. But whatever.
He's like, especially from another country.
Yeah. But he's getting flagged on a
For
computer
sure,
somewhere.
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Getting Taiwanese fucking Thailand goddamn emails about fuck Bush, for sure. That guy's on a list. Your dad's on a list now.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so interesting to grow up because
He's not allowed to go to Thailand.
in the world of computers and the internet, right? When we first found the internet, very few people engaging in it actually understood what the implications of them having all of your information.
Nobody did. Yeah, nobody really understood that.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But
that
also,
it's a thing.
nobody was collecting information at that time, so it really wasn't a thing to be afraid of yet.
It's so weird.
Now information is the most valuable currency there is.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's a war of InfoWars.
Ooh, we should start a podcast.
Okay.
I'm in.
Call it that.
In Austin, yeah. I'm on board.
Yeah.
I forget where I was. Oh yeah, dude. So
You were in
then,
Thailand.
the festival's going great. I get really drunk on that night this Christmas, trying to hit on these German girls, and I pass out next to the bar. There's just like a box with pillows on it, not super comfortable. And then someone put like a sign up that just spray painted like chill zone, and that's next to the bar. So I passed out there, like drank like some of their whiskey rum, tried to unsuccessfully hit on some people.
And then just that was it.
So we would stay at another bar up the beach with this guy named Bo, which is butterfly and Thai, and he owned this little bar, which is just like a shanty, like on the beach, like stand almost. I don't even remember it, honestly. I just remember that it was small. It was like cool, but we just stayed there. We didn't hang out there. We went to the festival, all of us, and when we would go home normally, they would go sleep in the bungalow. I would sleep in a tent behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that night I just passed out. I woke up and dude, like my sandals are missing. Okay, someone took but they took my sandals and replaced them with their sandals. They put them like on my feet. I'm all like,
Oh, so you're wearing somebody else's sandals.
yeah.
New
But then I
fuck.
figured out that someone stole my sandals.
Were they smaller sandals? Did
Yeah,
you
they
think
didn't
that maybe
fit-
you
they
just
didn't
grew
fit.
overnight. Were you like,
They were-
oh my god, I'm a giant now?
They were
My feet are
shittier.
swollen.
Yeah.
And let's see. Yeah, so I like got up and started looking around for my sandals. I'm hungover. I noticed the ground's all wet, and there's garbage everywhere, coconuts and shit, and like there's these fences that kept the sand from blowing up from the beach. Those are all knocked over, and there's like some kiosks knocked over. And dude, my first thought was like, dude, we must have fucking partied hard last night. That
threw down.
because
Because
I'm
and
up,
also we're assholes. We just left a fucking mess. Like,
Yeah.
we just partied and also everybody passed out clearly
yeah, and there's like
in somebody else's shoes.
there's this Australian dude.
I'm done with that.
He's like the bartender there. He comes like security. He comes up and he goes, "Hey mate, you slept through a tidal wave," and because I was up on this like rock embankment, and so even though we're on the beach, we're like 25 feet above sea level, and then there's like some rocks. But then if you walk like 100 feet either way or whatever, maybe 50 yards, it goes down back to the beach. It's just like a hump. So I woke up and I had slept through the tsunami that claimed 250,000 lives.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And
That tsunami.
yeah, and this-
Jesus
yeah,
fucking
and this,
Christ. You slept through it.
mhm.
God damn.
And there's this Moroccan photographer there. So when he said he goes, "You slept through a tidal wave, mate," I was like, "Well, I'm not from here. Everything's different, dude. When you go somewhere, especially when you're younger and you haven't experienced something so different, everything's out of the ordinary. So then, therefore, nothing's out of the ordinary because it's all out of the ordinary. So I just thought like, oh, you guys have like."
Oh, you guys have that
we have Taco
sometimes?
Tuesdays.
Right, yeah.
You guys have tidal wave. Like I didn't even. Yeah, I was like, oh, a tidal wave, okay. And then the Moroccan dude that had been hanging out, he showed me pictures of boats like in trees. He'd already been up taking pictures of the damage of it. I like slept through it. It was super loud. I just slept right through it.
Yeah, it had to be loud as
And
fuck.
yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
were boats on buildings and shit.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I
And
didn't.
also, you couldn't have been too much higher than like at 25. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were much lower, you would have been woken up a very different way.
Yeah.
Because those waves are like
so
15, 20 feet tall. Like they're close to how high you were off the beach, right?
yeah. So this will give you some scope. I forgot to mention that when we normally go back and sleep in the other bar, I was so drunk and passed out. They said I was snoring, so they were like, whatever, just leave him here. He has to be here tomorrow anyway. And it's just right up the beach. There's no point in trying to wake me up. I was in the chill zone, bro. And
Was the other bar fucked up?
oh yeah, they went home.
Oh shit! So
And
if you
homie
had
woke
gone
up
to
because
that other bar,
so check us out. So another time too, when I stayed there, when it got hot in the morning, like or 8 or 9, I went and slept in a chair under one of those umbrellas on the beach, and I would just be like passed out like that there. So that's how I probably would have ended up, or would have ended up in the tent. But they woke up drowning in the bungalow.
Tidal wave to
Yeah,
the face.
so they
What
woke up
the
with
fuck?
drowning in the bungalow. They tried to get out, but they couldn't. So they held hands and they were spinning around like we're gonna die like this.
Fuck.
And then when the wave receded, the pressure blew from the water being left inside of it, broke it apart, and they shot out. And then they ran up and grabbed trees because then there's a second wave. And so they were all their clothes was torn off. He had found like some glass. He found someone else's glasses because that was gone. They're all bruised up from the debris. All my luggage and stuff was gone, which I was bummed about.
Yeah.
But I did have my passport on me.
But it's hard to complain about at that point. You're like,
Yeah.
Hey guys, you ever see my luggage?
And
Half the island is gone, Chris.
yeah,
You're like, yeah, but is my luggage also gone?
I didn't have all my stuff. I had a bunch of stuff left back in Bangkok, so it was just like what I brought with me, and like some books and just whatever clothes I had. I had like a Tool shirt, I think. But yeah, we all hung out.
Are you pandering to me right now?
No, I am. I definitely am to both of you for sure. Yeah, so then the plan was to like get out of there because they were showing me the pictures. The electricity was off, of course. So, and I saw this, and this is fucked up. So I know people asked me if I saw bodies, and I did not because we stayed there that night and we left the next morning back to Bangkok. But I did see this guy who I'd met and spoken with before, and we had a long conversation about. He kind of scolded me actually about being poor. Being a poor American in a place like Thailand. He's like, you should be taking advantage of the opportunities you have and bringing that here so that it benefits them, not coming and living off of them. You know what I mean? So I guess why I brought that up earlier. And this guy had been there with his, and he was, dude, I just remember thinking like European dudes seem more manly than most West Coast Americans I know. So I remember feeling very young, even though some of these people weren't that much older than me. And I was very naive and just kind of a dumb person. But
there's an air to most of the Pacific Northwest that kind of allows for that type of existence. There's a very whimsical, like,
fuck you up, man.
Everything's kind of dreamy.
I fucking know where you live, man.
And also everything's like everywhere around you is paradise. So it kind of feels like everything's just like a dream. Like
yeah.
Everybody's
very
just
nice,
living
though.
off good vibes.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Oh, man. So when we were all like, let's get the fuck out of here, I went with the Australian dude, the security guard. I'll never forget what he said. He jumped behind the bar and he grabbed a carton of Marlboros and he goes, survival kit. And then we like headed into town, and then that's when I saw like the news when the power went back on, like a couple hours after, and it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you had no idea.
No idea. Like I knew it was like weird. Oh yeah, that guy. So before we left though, that guy, he had been traveling with his son or daughter, I forget, his son, who just got married. And they went.
Was it his daughter and her name was Son?
I forget. It could be it.
Soon.
That could
It's
be
soon.
it. No,
Soon.
he was a Swedish dude or something like that. I forget. He was European. I don't remember. But we did have a long conversation the night before, and then he told me that I saw him crying, and this was, like I said, a very manly man who kind of scolded me. But I saw him crying, and I found out from the Spanish woman that his daughter or his son had gone out with his new wife. They just got married to sleep on the beach the night before, and he couldn't find them.
Oh no.
So I didn't see anything, but I saw that guy weeping and knew that his kid was dead. And that I was like, holy shit. So that was
you were that close to it. And also, like, if you would really spend any time like looking for it, you could have found dead around you, I'm sure.
100%.
It was close.
And I do have survivor's guilt just because people understand what that concept is. I have felt it in that I went back to Bangkok instead of just staying there and devoting my body to helping. And I regret that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that would have been a really great experience that I just didn't realize was there to seize. And I went back to Bangkok and ended up coming home early because it stressed everyone out that happened and that I was down there.
Of course.
And
yeah.
you know what I mean? All the people that I knew. Because this is before too much, it was an email if I could get someone to answer their email, but I wasn't calling a lot of people.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
were a
I'm
kid,
sure
though,
there
dude.
was
You
a
didn't know
period of
anybody.
time where they didn't know if you'd survived it
Yeah.
before they heard from you. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, if I would have gone back the night before, I would have drowned if I wouldn't have got really drunk and passed out.
Isn't it weird how,
So I
how
don't-
many moments in life that small of a decision is a massive fork in the road? As far as to where you could end up or end up dead.
And also, it didn't feel that consequential at the time.
No.
No, like to me, I was like, I remember this one Thai guy who was hanging out. I don't remember his name, but he was hanging out at that treehouse place. It was called Reggae Bar. I was like, what are you going to do? Because everyone was kind of freaking out. And the Thai people are so chill. And I was like, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to get breakfast. He said that in Thai, and I don't remember how to say it now, but he said it very calmly. He's like, I'm going to get breakfast. And the Thais really have a very more realistic response to things emotionally than they're very zen. It's where they're like, oh, we just deal with this and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened. Now we do the next thing.
Mm-hmm. There isn't, whereas the tourists are more like, oh, what do we do? And I felt that way too.
Yeah.
And I realized that's very much a cultural, emotional thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't actually enjoy.
No, I mean it's reflective of our existence here. It's easier. The more you go through, the more a moment like that is something that feels commonplace. The more, you know what I'm saying, the more struggle, the more tragedy you've experienced, the less that those things affect you.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you've kind of conditioned yourself for those, that harsh life. So when something even as massive as a tidal wave, a tsunami, destroying things happen, you've
Also,
been
I
dealing
don't-
with famine and fucking terrible economy and governments, whatever fucked up things Thailand's been dealing with. That
Also,
you're
I
just kind of
don't imagine
adapted
that's
to
the
that.
first time that's ever happened there, right? Like
I'm sure there's been other times.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
places where that sort of event happened, it's typically like cyclical, like every however many years something like
That's
that
awful.
happens. So also I'm sure it's baked into the like if you live in Hawaii and a volcano starts erupting, you're like, yeah, that's what happens here.
That's what happens, yeah.
But if you're from anywhere else, you're like, the ground is spewing melty rock. Like, what are we all still doing here? And they're like, yeah, and then the island will be bigger. It'll be cool.
Yeah. It's wild. It's
Don't
wild
get
to
caught.
think.
Don't get caught in the goo.
It's wild to think about in retrospect, having lived through that, and at the time it just being kind of, I don't know. When I got home, when I saw my mom crying in the airport, and I'm talking about she held on to that, and so when I got off the plane, it was like unexpected for me, and I was really glad that I had come back because it freaked everybody out. But I stayed for a while. I stayed in like high school, and just was honestly living with girls who are sex workers, and it's a lot, and it's weird.
Were they girls?
Oh yeah, they were. There's a lot of gatoy there. There's a lot of ladyboys. It's a different cultural thing. They almost have like a token ladyboy, and socially, it's like part of like a gender association there, an acceptance ladyboys. But yeah, they're all sweet people. They still make fun of each other like we do. Like, oh look how they're acting. But it's different. It's more accepting.
Yeah. That's as far as it goes. There's no hatred behind it.
There's not.
It's just like
It's
busting balls.
way less. Yeah, it's way
'Cause
less.
They have
Because they have balls, yeah.
I think it's like it's an emotional maturity thing. So that's what I noticed. The big shift in that culture compared to the culture that I'm accustomed to.
Is that time period in your life why you and Ty are such good friends? Because like
Well, he's Vietnamese.
memory
Yeah, but his
association.
name's Ty.
No, his name. Did you not know that his name was Ty?
It's TAI, not with no H. Yeah. That's my story.
Scott's done with this podcast.
That's my story. I slept through this
He quits on
tsunami.
me pretty much once an episode, so it's pretty good.
Man, I can't. I'm so high.
Good.
Just want to say that.
Good.
Is that okay that I said that? Or are you going to put the Stoney Baloney sticker over my face and bleep it out?
No.
Yeah.
On life. You're high on life. And
We'll bleep out you saying hi and we'll just replace it with the N-word.
Yeah.
You got the AI working on your voice right now.
Just the context of that in the sentence. I'm so high right now. We won't do that. So when did you survive a natural disaster, Scott?
I'm also so N-word right now.
Deliriously so.
Fuck, man.
So I don't know if this counts as. So this is my story. But
Are you gonna tell your story?
Yeah, I don't know if it really counts as a. We'll see. We'll see. So, I had this dog that was this beautiful pit bull named Ayla, and when I moved to California, which was about 6 years ago, we had to give her up because we had to move into an apartment out there, and it can't have pit bulls, right? And we'd had this dog for like 2 years, and she was a rescue, and we fucking loved this dog, but it was just the reality of the situation, right? So we found a family to look after her and adopt her, right? And it was pretty good. Like, we had constant communications with them and like got updates, and we got to see pictures of her and stuff, so we knew that she was doing okay, right? But we were there in that apartment for a year, and then we ended up moving out of there into a townhome. So when we moved into the townhome, it was a little less stringent of the rules, and we had kind of talked already about getting another dog. And at that point, the Ayla, the dog that I'm talking about, she had a chip, right, from the place that we had rescued her from. We got her for free. So we got an alert that she was like on the loose from the company that, tracks, the little chips or whatever, because she had been picked up at a animal shelter or whatever, right? So we called the family, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we lost her. We've been looking for her, whatever." And it was odd that we hadn't heard from them that she was gone, and ended up the truth was they had dropped her on a street somewhere. So they ended up getting her and another dog at the same time, and then the wife got pregnant, and so they had 2 dogs and a baby, and it was just too much for them. And the truth was they couldn't handle it, and so they got rid of Ayla because the other dog was a puppy. So they decided to keep the puppy, right? So at the time, they were still trying to pretend like, oh, we lost her, like she got out and ran away, which is not a thing. She's very much attached to the people that she's with, right? So we're like, fuck it, we're just gonna come get her. Like, obviously you don't want her. We've been talking about getting another dog anyway. So Atlanta is where we had moved to California from, right? So we're like, we're gonna trek across the country back to Atlanta to get this dog and bring her back. But we've got 2 kids at this point, 1 kid who's 4, and then a brand new baby, and then also another dog, right? So the logistics of trying to fly back and forth and do that is insane. So we rented an RV to drive all the way across the country.
It's like a plot for a children's movie.
It is. It's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So we get in the RV, which it was a fucking blast. It was, the experience was a lot of fun. Other than when we were in Oklahoma, we got pulled over, and I had weed because obviously I'm coming from California, and so
And you're a new dad. Got to sleep somehow.
Exactly, right? Exactly. I've got to get them Z's, So so they pulled us over, and like I showed them. It was just a bull. It was all I had, and I showed it to them, and then they ransacked the fucking RV. Just like took all of our luggage out and dumped it out on the fucking ground outside, and then they were like, "Oh, you can clean it up." Fucking assholes.
What?
Every single police officer in Oklahoma can suck a fat dick. I'm talking to all of you. Fuck all of you.
I have no comment, and I don't share the opinions of the host.
I support law authority in all of its fashions and forms.
Yeah.
Fuck Oklahoma. So, So anyway, I had a fucking medical card, and it was medically legal in Oklahoma at the time.
Yes,
They were just pieces of shit. They were just
they were
absolute
being
pieces of
asshole
garbage.
cops.
Yes, because they fucking could. So, so other than that part, the trip was pretty cool, but it was crazy. Like, it was the first time I had driven an RV. I'm driving it literally all the way across the country and back with my kids,
it's so fun.
and dogs, right? So we get there. The whole experience there was pretty cool. It went pretty smoothly. We get the dog, end up, seeing some friends we hadn't seen because we'd been there for a year, and so that was kind of cool. And then on the drive back, we got to
Is there going to be tsunami in the story?
no,
in Arizona.
no,
there was
we
a
got
tsunami.
we got just to the other side of Texas, and like right as we're getting into El Paso, we start getting warnings for a blizzard up ahead, right? And so we're like, I mean, it's a fucking like Arizona, right? Like, they can't have like blizzards. I had no fucking idea. I was an idiot. I assumed like it's a hot place, like they can't have that much. I was very, very, very wrong. Clearly, that's from the look on your face. You know how wrong I was, right?
Yeah.
So we were just like, fuck it, we'll just drive there. Just be a little bit of snow, no big deal. And I'm from Chicago. I'm like, I've driven in snow. Like, that's not a problem. I'm not worried about that, right? A little bit of snow, it'll be fine. So we get into fucking New Mexico, and about halfway across the state, we hit the first bit of it, and it was heavy snow. But it was probably like a foot of snow by the time we got like out of what's the furthest town I don't even remember the furthest town in New Mexico on the way to Arizona. But anyway, outside of that last city, it started coming down crazy to the point that it was like 1:00 in the afternoon and it was almost pitch black because the clouds were so heavy. And the snow was so thick coming down. And it wasn't just like little bits of snow. It was like fucking snowballs falling from the sky. And there were at least 30 different vehicles that we saw that had like lost control and were off the road.
Yeah, I've been there.
And at least 4 or 5 of those were 18-wheelers. So it was like, it was fucked. It was real bad. It was so bad when the windshield wipers were going, they would go for about 2 minutes, and then I would have to reach my arm out and turn them off to stop it and bang the thing because it was getting so caked in snow and ice that it wouldn't scrape anything off the windows anymore. It was insane. I tried to find pictures and video because my wife has those, but she wasn't home when I was leaving, so I wasn't able to get anything. But I have some of those. But from that last town in New Mexico to Flagstaff, the average snowfall was 36 inches for however many miles. So for like 3 or 4 hours, we drove through 3 feet of snow blizzard. And when we started in New Mexico, again, it was coming down. There's probably like 6 inches when we hit the first bit of snow, and it was coming down. And then we got to about a foot, and I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. And then we start seeing the cars fucked up. But then once we got past the state line, there was nobody. To the point that I wasn't sure if I was on the road most of the time that I was driving. Like, and I was driving probably 35, 40 miles an hour was the fastest that I could go. And that felt like I was going too fast.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, I didn't want to go
fast.
any slower than that because I'm trying to get to where I'm going. Also, we had to stop twice because the truck started to like shutter and shit, and I had to go clean off all of the snow caked on the fucking grill. It wasn't getting air. Like, it had fucking caked all of that shit so thick that the engine was starting to stall out. So I didn't want to get stuck out there, which is why I was, again, driving as fast as I was. But after like that third or fourth 18-wheeler, and there were cops that were, with the big old snow tires with the chunky fucking, chains on them and shit that were coming to help everybody. But once we got past that last truck, for probably 2 straight hours, we didn't see another person. It was the most eerie fucking shit that I've ever experienced. Because, again, it's dark. It's the middle of the day. It's so fucking cold. And that, like, fighting with the windshield wipers was happening the entire time. Like, I was just fighting that. So when we finally got to Flagstaff, we ended up getting there, and there was a break in the storm. and we ended up pulling over and staying there overnight. And that's where we found out that it was over 3 feet of snow that we had been driving through on the way. So the whole time, like, I'm just like, I'm terrified, right? Like, this whole situation is very much out of my control. I'm doing the best that I can, but like, if anything happens and the situation goes south, like, I don't have, like, we don't have survive in the blizzard gear in the fucking RV and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
gotta have
if
your
we
jump
had wrecked,
bag.
especially in that stretch where there was nobody, we would have been so fucked. Like, who knows how long before somebody drove up that stretch of road. Probably the next day once the snow had stopped and shit like that before anybody would have been able to go. And at that point, it was closer to 4 feet of snow, and we'd been stuck completely in that shit in that RV. So it was very harrowing, but it was also, there was the reality of like you said, like, I just had a kid, and like all of the responsibility is on me. So like I pushed through that, but the whole fucking time I'm like just white knuckles holding on. And I remember my wife making a comment. She was like, "Man, I was just terrified that whole time, but you were just so brave and held together." And I was like, if you had any idea what I was actually feeling, you would, like, that's why I had to hide what I was actually experiencing.
I looked like it on the outside.
Because if anybody knew how I really felt, the whole car would have been shit out of luck. It would have been bad. But the whole time, it was absolutely terrifying. So then we got to the other side of that, and then we drove through Arizona, and that was pretty good. And then when we hit the mountains going over the mountain range into California, we hit another 2 feet snow blizzard that we drove through there. And that was pretty gnarly just because of the steep incline. But honestly, after what we had just gone through, it was kind of easy in comparison. And also that's an area that always gets that much snow. So like they have crews coming in through and plowing. So like it wasn't as bad.
It's the mountains.
Yeah.
It's well maintained.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They're ready for that at a moment's notice. So that wasn't as bad, but it was just like at any other trip, that would have been the story. Going over the mountain through the snow, like the Donner's. It was literally where all of those people died and fucking ate each other. But that was nothing compared to the fucking stretch. So anyway, whether or not that's a natural disaster is a coin flip. But that was the worst blizzard in the United States in 108 years at that point. So I feel like that kind of qualifies as a natural disaster when you have so much snow that like cars disappear.
How are you gonna follow that, dude?
How am I gonna follow
Yeah, dude. That was great. The story's great.
It was very captivating. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that
I was
story.
fully captivated. I know that feeling though, like where you're like, oh fuck, I'm in the bite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And this could be it.
And you just have to keep going. And that's the difference. I think that's the difference between people who survive or don't survive a situation like that. Is what is your instinct? Is your instinct just to like persevere and keep going, or is your instinct to be like, what the fuck is happening? Because I feel like that person doesn't make it through that situation most of the time.
Oh my god, I've been even in driving through Texas up to Dallas. I've been in a couple of like storms. I'm like, what the fuck?
Some of the storms in Central Texas are like just like thunderstorms are
they're
death
crazy.
events. They're really terrifying. Like the amount of wind that builds up. It'll be raining buckets, and then it's just like softball-sized hail comes flying. Yeah, there's some nasty storms here. It's pretty fucking cool.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And it's not cool to drive through.
Well, it is if you survive it and get to the other side.
Yeah.
I fucked up one of my cars though, driving through one of those. Just all the hail, just ruined the paint job of the whole fucking car. It was rough.
Driving's scary.
Yeah.
Driving is scary.
Yeah, I hate it.
Every time I go to the airport, I get stressed out about going on a plane. And I remind myself, like, you're more likely to die on the way to or from the airport.
I love driving.
But that doesn't help. That information doesn't help because
no, it doesn't help.
she's not going to die the same.
It's like when you're in the ocean and they're like, you're more likely to win the lottery than shark attack. It's like, yeah, but
and
I'm
you're
in
like,
the ocean.
yeah, but not right now.
Yeah. Like,
Not right now. I'm definitely not winning the lottery right now, but I could get eaten by a shark.
I don't
So
play
get
the lottery.
Fuck out of here with that.
And I'm in the ocean.
Oh,
the
yeah.
odds are ever not in my favor.
I don't like oceans either.
I don't like the ocean either.
Here's the thing.
I like the ocean up to a certain point.
I love the ocean up until the point where I'm like, I don't know what's going on underneath me anymore.
Yeah.
And also, I've been in the water and had sharks pass like within feet of me, both in California and Florida before, and that's such a and not even sharks big enough that they could have really done anything to me, but that like
You could take your fingers off.
your brain just recognizes like that could eat you, and it's a weird feeling.
That's a weird feeling.
Also, that's not your territory.
Oh yeah, I don't belong here.
No, yeah, they move so well, and you do not.
Yeah, also the way they fucking turn and shit, you're like, oh, there's nothing I could do. Nothing.
They're so agile. It's like
It's terrifying.
it's kind of their thing.
It's fucking miserable.
Swimming.
Dude. Sharks are miserable.
Yeah.
Oh, it's giving me anxiety, dude.
I know, yeah. I follow a couple of those like Instagram pages that's like deep sea whatever, and I'll send them around everyone. But yeah, those are fucking.
Yeah, they're gnarly.
Didn't I send you one recently where the lady goes down the water slide off the yacht into the water, and there's all these sharks
right there.
swimming
Yes.
around?
No,
Fucking crazy
no,
people,
no,
dude.
thank you.
No.
Why did she do that on purpose?
Yeah, I think they knew the sharks were there, and they were just like, oh, they're not the kind that eat you, I guess. But
Yeah, they probably are island people who
Yeah.
are familiar with the
types of
nature
shark,
there,
yeah.
and they're like, oh, that's not an aggressive shark.
that's a sweet little baby shark.
No, thank you.
Oh, cute little guy. I'll pinch him cheeks.
You don't trust they're like I don't trust when they're like having a hard time or whatever. They're like, I'm gonna go out this big motherfucker right here.
Yeah. That's the other thing. The difference between whether or not a shark is going to eat you is information you don't have access to.
Yeah.
Has he eaten recently? You don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the only determining factor is like how hungry is this motherfucker?
Yeah. It's terrifying.
And how scrumptious do I look?
Yeah,
I have so many ocean and sea creature based nightmares. A lot of my nightmares involve the ocean, like falling off of a bridge into the ocean, or killer whale is trying to eat me while I'm tubing in the fucking Arctic or something. That's one that I had recently.
Whoa.
Why I would be tubing in the Arctic, I don't know, but a killer whale did try to eat me.
Yeah.
Well, you can recall dreams.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah, but you have like old hits, like things you remember.
for sure.
I
Yeah.
got a few-
I
got a
yeah,
few
I've got
deep cuts I remember.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's usually that. It's usually like I remember the weirdest detail. I couldn't tell you the whole dream, but I remember the weird theme behind it.
Yeah.
I have dreams about DMT sometimes that are very weird.
About it.
Yeah. Like dreams about smoking DMT, or
Oh.
dreams about like going through a DMT portal or something. It's like I'm in reality in my dream, and then I smoke DMT. It's almost as
And
if
then
my
wake up and you're like, wait a minute, is this
yeah.
the dream? or-
It's almost as if my subconscious is, I don't know, self-aware or
That's
tricking
terrifying.
me into. It's so strange.
It's also weird that like I have places that my brain built as a kid in dreams that I still go back to, that I
Yeah.
recognize,
Yep.
that are like real places to me.
Yes.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Have you read Sandman?
Uh-uh.
Oh, dude, you should check out Sandman. Yeah, I just read the Sandman comics. That was one of those things like people tell me to do, and I hadn't gotten around to it. And yeah, it's all about that.
Just that experience.
Well,
And,
you
like
just
what that represents.
yeah, there's just that's a big theme in it. Dreams, stories, and dreams in your life. You know, that's all it is: stories and dreams.
I have a lot of like recurring locations and environments in dreams that are composites of schools that I went to, or friends' houses or jail. There's one that's all of the schools that I went to and Rappahannock Regional Jail. And it's this composite building that I know the way through the maze. It's so strange. It's so strange.
Yeah. It's weird what the brain can create. The reality that your brain can create.
Oh, definitely.
I
Which
used to have-
ultimately just makes you question all of it. Because it's like, if my brain can do that when I do this, you're telling me it can't when I do this? Same brain. This is real. This is fake. It's all okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh man.
All right, so I was living in Tennessee when I was 18 years old. I left home to work for a greenhouse construction company. It was owned by this Dutch family. and we went out to Springfield, Tennessee, which is just south of Kentucky. And then what's to the west of Kentucky? I don't know the geography right now, but it's northwest Tennessee. And the weather there is kind of similar to the weather in North Texas, Central Texas. Heavy rains, hail, tornadoes.
Is that where you're from? Is Tennessee?
I'm from Virginia.
Virginia. Oh, that
Yeah.
place is sweltering. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Virginia is the hottest place I've ever been in my life.
It's very humid there where I'm from.
It's fucking
Georgia
insane.
is on par.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Like, it's hot in Florida, but it's
Not-
got all that ocean breeze.
Yeah.
It just feels so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you get none of that when you're landlocked. You just get the hot,
yeah.
wet, like
Uh-huh.
just the swamp gas from Florida just wafting up.
Yep. The hottest places I've been, other than Texas, is Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia. It's just a different, especially Georgia. There's a special kind of humidity in Georgia from the pine trees and the coast
I hate it
and
so
the
much.
heat. Yeah, it's a special type of humidity.
I spent 15 plus years there, and I never got used to that.
No,
Never
yeah,
once.
you're just in a bubble of it all
As
day.
soon as you walk outside, from like mid-April to mid-September, anytime you walk outside, you're just like, well, I'm wet. I'm wet now.
Yeah, ugh.
It's gross. So
It is
terrible.
so humid. It's insane. Louisiana's like that too. When I went to Louisiana on my way to Texas, I was there for about a
yeah.
week.
Because it's all swamp, too.
And that's all, nothing but a swamp.
No.
Yeah.
Just a swamp in the sun. Oh, that's terrible.
And that's what your butt becomes.
Mm.
But I was in
Because
Tennessee.
you were doing perennium sunning?
Yes. But I was in Tennessee. It's more gets into like the Midwest and the Tornado Alley and stuff. West Tennessee. And I'm working for a greenhouse company, and this isn't like, these are my dad's buddies. These aren't like up and up corporate people. We're construction people.
Yeah, and also just like any of that kind of construction work, any kind of landscaping work, like that's a certain type of people that do
It's a
that
certain
type
type
of
of
work.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I was those people.
Yeah. So it's the foreman is a Dutch guy, Anton, and then the next, I guess, manager underneath him is this guy Dale from West Virginia, this old fucking crackhead who you can hardly understand. Who, God, this is the time like Fireball was really popular, and they were drinking Fireball like water, as you do. What else? So, and then the rest of the crew, it's Jason and I, who are the only two white guys on the crew other than the bosses. The rest of it is Hispanic people from the area that they hired as like temp guys, essentially.
Fireball happened like in my mid-20s, and I ended up skipping the Fireball revolution because in my early 20s we had Goldschlager. And I got so drunk one time that I just puked gold chunks for like an entire evening, and that ruined the idea of anything cinnamon flavored in my alcohol. And so it's the first time I smelled Fireball, I was like, nah, we're not doing that ever.
The Jägermeister era is what ruined all of that shit for me.
Yeah,
I can't do
also,
Fireball or any of that.
Yeah.
And I know that Jaeger is like licorice, but that, like, we're going to drink a
flavor liquor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, fuck that. The
Yep.
flavored liquor trends, not a fan of at all. White Claw, not a fan of. That shit would get you it would get you so fucked up. There's so much sugar in that too, man. The hangovers from Jaeger and from
Jaeger
Fireball
bombs
are
specifically.
the worst.
That's such an insane night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I drank all that shit.
He's like, I had Jaeger bomb on the way here.
No Jaeger bombs. I'm a pretty bad alcoholic. I'm trying to get it under wraps. I probably need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
All right. We got him high enough to start confessing.
No, that's
I used
true.
to smoke crack and I felt really gross about it.
It's true.
I think I'm a bad alcoholic.
Yeah. I mean,
That
it's
CBD
been-
is fucking good.
it's been a
Yeah,
rocky
the cameras aren't on.
road.
This is an intervention.
Oh man,
We could have made this a drinking podcast. We could have drank and had some drinks.
Jaeger, Goldschlager. I also really like. I was a bartender for a while. I like Sambuca and like
Okay.
Ouzo.
Yeah.
Like those are similar liqueurs, but they're more like herbal,
Uh-huh.
or like
Yeah, whereas the fireballs, that type
Quantum.
of stuff is mostly just like sugar is the main spice.
Yeah, well, then people are just taking it as a shot where you would use like Cointreau or something. You would use like small amounts of that along with a vodka
To mix into
and
something.
then mix into with some juice, and then it's like really fucking good.
Uh-huh.
But like Ouzo is great by itself, like with a cube in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just like, or like a Pernod. Like I like where it's like wormwoodish, like absinthe, those kind of
Yeah,
like
you like that flavor?
liqueurs. I just like that there's like this. It's like fine when it's like a fine liqueur, and there's all these like herbs and stuff being used. Like I like gin for that reason. Although gin's hangovers are some of the worst I've ever
They
had.
are
Gin
nasty
hangovers are
hangovers.
rough. Yeah, it feels like it dries you out more.
I never think to drink
Yeah.
gin.
Yeah.
I'm like, unless it's like an amazing cocktail.
Also,
I don't
Right, it
wanna
has to
have
be a
gin.
really fancy gin, like
It-
you said, where you
Yeah.
can really sense that. I can't drink.
Yes, I
Seagram's.
feel like I feel like gin is the liquor that like anything below top shelf is disgusting. Like I can't like
yes.
I can drink like a really nice gin, but any of the stuff that you buy that most people drink, all of that just tastes like fucking like it's just so bitter and like it's just gross.
cheap vodka, cheap whiskey, cheap rum. I can drink all that shit. But yeah, you're right.
But cheap
gin
gin?
is.
That's a
No,
mistake you
sir.
make one time.
Yeah,
I mean, no, it's funny you say that
because then you could just smell that puke that you had that night. Anytime that gin comes out, you'll know that's cheap gin. I can't do that. It's
cheap gin is
It
horrible.
just starts hitting you, man, just in waves. You
just
start having flashbacks and fucking cuddling with the dog and asking God for forgiveness. I'll spread the word. I'll spread your word. Just let me come back from this one.
I think Tanqueray or vodka was. I think Tanqueray might have been my first drink ever. Of
I mean,
liquor.
I used to drink a lot of Tanqueray.
Bombay.
New Amsterdam was what
Oh,
they
man.
drank in New Jersey when I was up there hanging out with them. They loved that stuff.
All right, so your story. We got all sidetracked talking about alcohol.
We do that.
Yeah, good.
It's okay.
See, that's how much.
We interject. We go on little tangents.
Yeah.
We come
Yeah,
back.
sorry,
That's
no,
fine, dude. I'm good at stream of consciousness.
no,
like
I
that.
just forgot.
That's
what
the
we're
way my
doing.
comedy is already, so I have no problem going off on a tangent and coming back to where I was. I was in Tennessee, and I'm working with my dad's buddies and a bunch of Hispanic guys. We're from Virginia, the company and the crew, so we're staying at a Motel 6 while we're working there.
And also not
Luxurious.
100% because of how cheap it is, also because that group of people, they're staying at a Motel 6.
Yeah.
Because they know they can do Motel 6 things.
Right, yeah, exactly. And we were doing Motel 6 things.
Yeah.
Jason, the guy that I was bunking with, we were sharing a room. He was a tattoo artist. He did most of my tattoos. He did the Virginia one, most of my tattoos. He's the one who did them. When I was 18 years old, and he's fucking 23 and just starting off doing tattoos, and had it in the hotel room. And he would tattoo all of our coworkers, all the local Hispanic guys would come over to the motel and party with
Have
us.
tattoo parties.
And we do tattoo parties in the motel room all the time, man.
That's
And we were getting
excellent.
all sorts of shenanigans. I was drinking Jack Daniels at this time. That was my counter to the Fireball
trouble
Revolution.
drink.
That is a very, very troubled drink.
Yeah.
A very troubled drink. And a lot of trouble happened.
Uh-huh.
But so in this town, I had never heard this before. I never experienced this before or after, only in this town. There was a train there, you'd hear that. There was a lot of, we get Amber Alerts here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was a tower in this town that had a tornado alert.
Oh, those are gnarly. They have one of those in Belton.
Do they?
Yeah, it goes off the whatever third Saturday of the month, and I found that out because I was parked right next to the fucking tower one Saturday when it went off. Oh my God, is that a sound? Oh, it pierces, like, it makes sense that that's the sound that they use, because without knowing, like, I heard that sound and I was like, there's got to be a natural, like, that. It made me feel like the world was ending.
It
I
sounds
was
like
something really bad is
Yeah.
clearly happening.
It's
when
like an
that
air
sound
raid
is happening.
siren.
Yes,
It's fucking crazy.
It's actually the same siren. It's just at a different cadence. One of them's like broken, and then one of them's a solid line.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's so terrifying sounding.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, it is so eerie. I have never experienced it before. And so we'd had this happen a couple times. Like there was an alarm that would go off every once in a while. You'd hear it. But on this night, it was storming. It was a bad storm was coming through, a bad tornado, which we never had like bad tornadoes in Virginia. We had one hurricane come there, Hurricane Isabel, and it was basically tropical storm level damage, or like bad thunderstorm level damage. You know, a couple branches and trees have fallen, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 casualties. So I've never really experienced natural disaster in my life. Virginia is super chill, no earthquakes, nothing like that. So this is kind of surreal for me, right? Not as much when you're in like a new land like you were, and you're like, oh, that just happens. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is kind of fucking.
But it's a similar feeling because you know that for people who live there, they're prepared. They know what you're supposed to do, but you had none of that.
Right. Same as
just
you.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
Same as you going through the blizzard. It's
yes.
like, I don't have the things to be trapped in this situation.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
None of the tools.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because all the tools are at the job site. So we literally don't have any of the tools because they're at the fucking job site.
You don't really want tools during a tornado, probably.
That's
debris.
Yeah,
probably,
you
that's
don't
probably
want
not good.
screwdrivers fucking flying around. And
Tornadoes are fucking scary.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I had never.
Mostly because it could just right now one could just happen right here. It's not bound to anything really. You know what I'm saying? Like they happen in similar areas, but like it could just happen anywhere because like hot and cold happened.
Yeah.
And then just like what the fuck?
The wind felt silly. Hello.
Yeah.
And then all of the things were destroyed. Yeah. It's terrifying.
I would never live in the Midwest for that reason.
No.
Dude, I would not either. Not after this experience. So it's the siren goes down, and we've heard it as an alarm before, and still now it's happening during a storm. Mm-hmm. This is legit.
It feels
an
real,
actual tornado, and there's an announcement on it, right? So when it would do the alarm, it would be like, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Woo, tornado. Woo. This time it's just shouting, tornado is coming, seek shelter now.
Oh,
woo, fuck. Tornado coming, seek shelter now. And it was doing that on a loop for a very long time. And you're just living in that under this cloud of fucking darkness, pouring rain, drunk as shit on Jack Daniels, getting tattoos. You're like, this is cool.
Yeah. Do a tornado now. Do a tornado next.
So we're drunk, and we go to hang out with our other coworkers and party with them. And the other, do you need to answer that?
No, I'm just gonna. It's cool. It's cool. Sorry.
All right. So we're fucked up during the tornado, and we go to hang out with our coworkers who are staying in a different wing of the motel. Right, so we have to go around the outdoor corridors, and it's all fucking raining and slippery and stuff. And I slipped, running drunk, and busted my head open. I still have a scar up here. I don't know where. I think it's on this side. If I shaved my head, if my hair was shorter, you could see there's a very plain scar. I can't grow hair there. So I busted my head open while we were doing this. I'm drunk as shit. Drunk as shit. Have a concussion.
It's just fucking blood. And then like rain also on the blood running down your face. Fuck.
No health insurance. Not going to the hospital, right? So, solution, let's get tattoos to keep me awake so I don't fall asleep with this concussion. So instead of sleeping, yeah.
You remind me of my little brother.
Here's the thing. I can hear the Jack Daniels in that plan. But also, it's not the worst plan. It's not.
I gotta
It
stay
sounded like
awake.
it probably worked.
It did work.
Fuck. That's so good.
So I stay up, proceed to get shitty tattoos. I got this tattoo on my wrist right here, the BSW, where you can see a lot of the ink didn't stay in because I was drunk and it was bleeding out.
Because the fucking wind rustling around in the...
I got this snowman when I was drunk on Jack Daniels and had a concussion and was trying to stay awake.
Wow.
And I got... it's the coup de grace. I got my last name tattooed across my back.
You got your own last name tattooed on
I
your
got
back?
my last name tattooed across my back like a high school athlete that never played any
sports. It looks
sports.
like he was erasing it as he was like as he did it. You were like, "This is a bad idea."
Hey,
and he was like, "Let me see if I can take it off."
Hey, I'm from Virginia, so will you put a Washington Nationals W as the W for Wharton? And then let's not fill it in because I have to go to sleep now. We got back to the job site the next day, and, you know, I was silly for a little while, as what happens when you have a concussion. You get a little silly brained for about a week or two. Mm-hmm. But we worked through it. The hail and the tornado, though. Rub some dirt on that concussion, boy.
Sure, I don't remember the word Thursday anymore, but like we're doing okay. Worked.
I can only speak Spanish after the concussion. No, it did. The tornado and the hail did fuck up the job site. It broke all the glass that we had already installed on the greenhouse.
Fuck.
So, and we're insured.
Yeah,
so
double pay.
Yeah, double pay. Extended the contract, and we just got to stay there.
But
like
also, you had to clean all that shit up. We
had to clean that shit up, and that was the fucking worst thing.
Yeah.
And I hate broken glass. I don't have like a phobia of broken glass, but it gives me like a heebie-jeebies. It's the only thing that gives me like heebie-jeebies.
Glass gives you, that's
like broken glass. I've especially broken glass in my house or like somewhere where I'm working or walking, you know.
It gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Yes.
I like that you use that to describe it because I get what you mean.
It's not like a phobia where I'm like
it
scared
irks
of.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a pet peeve.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but
man.
yeah, dude, that was
no,
fucking...
thank you, dude. No, thank you, bro. Okay, I guess oh, man, I got to drive.
Eventually.
I don't think there were many fatalities, as many as there was in a tsunami and my tornado, but...
No more of that. You get that away from me right now. Get that away from me right now. No. No, sir. I'm fighting. My body's fighting that right now. It's not even letting it in.
I'll keep it in with you, bud. I don't have to make any decisions or anything.
Welcome to the Stoney Baloney podcast.
How much longer will this take?
How long does it take you to guess which one of us was lying?
Oh, really? That's how this podcast ends?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's going to take a minute. Let's see, babe. Leaving in... I have to guess who's lying. I'm going to text her that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, dude... Dude, you guys are pretty good because I was convinced he was telling the truth and that you were lying at the as we went through it. But then I think that you guys are pulling mind tricks on me and that you did stuff to fake me out, that you're lying and that he's telling the truth. And I don't know who's a better liar.
It is,
yeah.
If you feel like it's us versus you, you're correct. That is
wow, it does feel that way. And I see like some eye contact going on, like you guys are like in a band. But the music you're playing is this bullshit that you're selling me. And that there's more to this than just the two of you telling random stories. You guys are psyching me out. And so I can't tell if you're trying to tilt me to believe that he's a liar and that you're telling the truth, or if your story was true or not. Because I didn't want to believe you. And then I started believing you. How have other people fared in this show? Can I ask that?
I think it's fairly close to 50-50.
As far as
people getting it right or wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty close.
But as far as the way that the guest feels at the end, like you do now,
that's
like
100%.
you do now.
It's consistent?
Always like you do now.
Yeah.
And how many podcasts have you done of
20.
this?
About 20.
20, and everyone always feels that way?
You're like, man, I thought you were until you told your story.
And then you said this detail, and then that made me believe it was real. Yeah.
But I think you're playing, and that you're...
Yeah, but then you guys are looking at each other, and so then I'm like, you guys are... there's some game you're running, because you're commenting on it like casually, which is fine, which is making it flow. That's good. But, yeah, I don't know. How long does it take? How long does I'm not stalling. How long does everyone else take to guess? Are people quicker to guess?
No.
How long is it?
Everybody
What's
stalls.
the average? What's the average length?
a minute or two.
A minute or two. Oh
Yeah,
no, this is gonna be longer than a minute.
Some
dude.
people give us a breakdown of like, this is why I thought you were lying.
Really?
This is what. Yeah.
Can you
this is
what?
what
Can you
tricked
give me some examples of those things?
Like the details you gave. The one time Scott was like, "Oh, I was going to tell this story, but I decided to change it at the last minute," and they were like, "Oh, well then obviously it's a true story because you changed directions at the last minute, so you couldn't have been making that up as you went along." So the little cues and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you're involving like this person. This person was like this. Dude. But then I just feel I feel like you guys are. I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I don't know who to say.
That's the right feeling.
Yeah, because I also don't know how good of a liar either of you are. I think that's the most. I think I said that already.
Well, now you kind of know.
Also, why do I want to be right so bad? Why do I want to guess so bad? Why is this like a puzzle? This is a very fun concept.
It's a good game. Yeah.
You guys weren't expecting my story, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was a really good story.
Especially
Your story is the one that I would guess is a
Especially
lie
the-
out of this fucking.
Right, exactly. Yes, 100%. Yeah, especially because it wasn't just like a crazy story. It was a world event that you were in the middle of. Everybody who's alive now that was alive then heard about this story that you just told.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking nuts. Yeah.
We just have nameless
Yeah.
blizzards and
Yeah.
tornadoes.
Nameless blizzards and tornadoes.
That's the
That's
name
our
of your
band.
band. That's your band.
Oh, whoa, dude. Nameless blizzards and tornadoes. That's a good band name. Is it too long?
It's wordy, but what does that
Nameless
really mean?
blizzards
How
and
often-
tornadoes.
Nameless blizzards.
But if
Nameless
fans,
blizzards.
fans of that band just shorten it. You know what I'm saying? They just
Nameless
give it a
blizzards, dude. That's a
Yeah.
good band name, right? It sounds very metal,
name.
actually.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
But you could be like hard and fun and still be like, all right, nameless blizzards. People would call you lizards all the time.
Yeah.
All right, I like that, dude. It's recorded. I don't have to text it to myself.
Nope, it's on here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
about,
fucking know.
In about
dude.
a month, this episode will drop and you'll see it.
Do you guys? Have you had conversations about what you?
I'm not talking shit. We're exactly 4 weeks.
I know, it's just funny.
Have you? What is this for? You handed me this.
Nameless blizzards.
Oh, nameless blizzards. Thank you.
There's a really good band, like an instrumental rock band called Nevermind the Name.
Yes, that's
I like that song.
great.
That's fun.
Nameless
That's fun.
blizzard. Never mind the name. It's such a good band name. That's like no use
And
for a name.
hopefully that came from a legitimate moment. Where somebody was trying to and somebody was like, "Never mind the name. We got to fuck it." You know what I'm saying?
And it was
Hopefully
like,
that
we gotta get this
happened
song right,
organically,
yeah.
and then somebody was like,
Oh, that's a great band
"Never
name.
mind the name."
Yeah,
And it was
that's so
Brian
good.
Regan, obviously, who wrote it down.
Yeah, that was a good impression.
I don't understand.
I don't know, dude. Oh yeah, that's my other question. How much time have you spent in between the podcasts discussing what is effective in a lie or in the truth? How much do you guys talk about it?
Oh, we usually talk about it a little bit after the episode, but not much, not like during the week between.
We usually are just trying to work out our stories and
Yeah.
Okay.
make sure we have our timelines right and stuff.
Okay.
Because even when I'm telling the truth, I'm still trying to get the timeline down of the story and just make the story sound
trying to
interesting
remember it.
and tell it in a fun way.
Yeah, yeah.
And not be a fucking bore factory.
not be a
I'm
bore
like, so
factory.
there was a tornado and I was at a motel and I got a tattoo.
His name was Greg, or was it George, or none of that.
We've
stuff.
also
None
had
of that
times
stuff.
where we've had people come on that were kind of short notice, and then we almost had to come with our stories on the fly, and it was just not.
Yeah, not
conducive
Okay,
to
so
a
that
good
brings up my last
podcast.
question. How many times do they nail it? How many times do they know who's telling a lie and who's telling the truth?
50-50.
It's about 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good numbers, guys.
Yeah.
Last guest was right, and the 3 guests before that were wrong, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So which do
Yeah,
you
that was a little bit
prefer
wrong.
more, right or wrong? Which reaction do you like more?
Nobody's ever asked us questions like these.
That is
See?
They always ask us
Yeah.
questions to try to figure out more details about the
Uh-huh.
story, to figure out if we're lying or not, and play like the twins paradox game with us. But he's just asking statistic.
That makes sense though, right? Like that's what's interesting about it is that
Yeah.
it's a tactic you're doing. So that's more interesting
What
to
do I
me.
like more when people are wrong or right?
Do you like
I guess
it
it
when-
depends on who it is.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Certain people
okay.
I like fooling. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I think
It
I wanna
also-
be able to
Yes,
fool.
that's what I would be
Right.
enjoying. If I was doing this, I would want to fool them every time.
But some people
But,
come
yeah,
on. I'm
so
like, he's a
That's the other thing. It depends on whether I'm telling the truth or a lie as to whether or not I want. Because like,
right. Yeah, that's true too.
and it's not always one or the other. Sometimes I have a true story that's really good, and I really want you to believe it because it was a cool like. To me, it happened, but also sometimes I'm like, this is a good ass lie. I'm about to fucking get you with this. So it just kind of depends.
yeah.
Oh, dude, you just made it so. I just made it so much worse for myself.
You were trying to narrow it down, and you just widened the bridge.
Yeah, I think you're lying.
You locking that in? Final answer?
You gonna like that one?
That was very direct. And it didn't even necessarily feel like it had to do with the podcast. He was just like, I think you're a liar. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, that felt unrelated to the podcast. I think you're lying. Fraud.
Now, let's talk about these stories. Yeah.
Do you want me to tell him?
Locked it in?
You want to tell him? You're going to lock it in?
Yeah.
Okay, I have the option to not lock it in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Would that
Yeah,
be a
'cause
cruel magic if I did that? Was that cheating?
No, because we've gotten people to switch their answer and be wrong.
Brent
that way,
switched
so.
so many times. I was
Oh,
like, wait, no.
really?
Wait, no, you're lying. Wait, you're lying. No, you're lying.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're lying.
You want to tell him?
No, go ahead.
You're right.
God damn it! Yes.
Gabe's a filthy liar.
Wow, dude. Oh, wow.
There were a couple of parts of that. So, like, we did go get the dog, but yeah.
I believed your story when you told it. I thought you were lying
Why?
because of the way you stumbled and fumbled into talking.
I'm just
So-
really high.
So no, that's what I was reading. I was like, you're more nervous and you're more confident.
I'm a liar.
But what part of those? But you were such a good liar because those details were really good.
I've driven through a couple blizzards like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I like when I lived in Chicago, I've driven through some shit like that. So that was
Also grew up in a household where I got in trouble a lot for telling the truth and they thought I was lying.
Oh, that
Right?
fucks with your psyche. Yeah.
So there's a lot of times where I'm like, fuck, they're going to think that I'm lying about this, but like, this is what really happened. I feel like that's so often in my life.
I find
I hate that.
legitimately on here, sometimes it is much harder for me telling a true story because you're bound to what happened. And sometimes it's tougher to make that seem like a story you would tell because some of the
Right.
details weren't that exciting.
I think that's part of the problem with my story is that it's a story, it's something that happened, but just trying to
Nobody got
find a way to
hurt.
make
Yeah, it doesn't
exciting.
seem like it was just like
to make it
But
fun,
you were
to
just
make it fun.
fumbling so much that
I guess
and then
you busted
the
your
way
head
you
up, and that's
included
pretty
details. You're also a very good liar because you made it seem like you were lying to me. That's what I feel like. I don't know why, but maybe I just am judging you, and I just assume that you would be a liar. Maybe I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean that.
Well, you
to
didn't
say,
like point at me and
Well-
say it.
liar.
You didn't like challenge me to a duel with your body language when you said it. So I'm cool,
I
man.
took that really seriously.
Yeah. I could tell you like
Yeah,
it seemed
Kerr.
like you had a list of questions prepared, like you were ready to ask those.
Yeah, no, it's just that all of a sudden there was so much at stake. I had like my own like mini Super Bowl right there,
Oh, nice.
and the team I was rooting for won.
Which we'll find out soon enough.
We'll find out.
All right, well, that's the game. You won the game. Now,
I'm so proud of
fucking-
myself.
now plug your shit.
Yeah, plug yourself.
Oh, come to my show Cocktails at the Pershing Hall, Pershing East. Have you been?
Yes.
Have you been to the Pershing?
I've been to the Pershing. I've not been to your show at the Pershing. I've been to your show and been to the Pershing.
Yeah, yeah, you've been to the show, but you've been to the Pershing. So the venue is really.
It's a
Have you been?
Very cool.
I
venue.
haven't.
The venue's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the staff is cool, and it's just it's a swanky joint. So it's a members only club, but
It's a very good spot for that show. That's a perfect location for that.
Thank you. I feel the same way. It happens the last Friday of every month right now, but you can go onto the website for the Pershing East and check out their calendar, and the box office is set up there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put everything in the description.
Oh, cool. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a burlesque show. and you've done it.
It's fun.
Man,
It's a really fun show.
And anyone who wants, you don't have to be a performer. You just have to have a story. Excuse me.
You've been struggling over there. I didn't know how you were gonna make it through the rest of that sentence without your tongue sticking to the roof.
That
of your
was
mouth
some very
permanently.
specific ASMR for somebody. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, cocktails. Yeah, it's super fun. There's the burlesque element, which wasn't there when you did the show. I'm doing it with Sweet Nothings.
That's fun.
Fantastic burlesque performer, and she brings in all these different performers every time. It's totally her department, and it's great to experience it. I enjoy burlesque.
Yeah, that's a good combination for that show because burlesque is already a fancy, sexy experience anyway.
Yes.
So it melds well into your show.
Yeah, it breaks the ice very well at the top of the show, and also
comedy and burlesque. I mean,
that's how I started, man.
Yeah.
One of like the shows that I really wanted to do in Eugene was a burlesque show, the live review at John Henry's, and they mostly just did burlesque, and I would like beg them to come do sets. And so I would practice. There was no like comedy shows or anything. Like I started the first open mic, at least at that time, in Eugene. And so that was like the show that I really wanted to get on, and then was stoked that I was on, and I would dress up and everything, and whatever, tell like the hackiest jokes, but try.
Your food joke?
Yeah, probably at some point that came up.
Next time we do an episode, we should do a cocktails episode and we'll all dress up in suits and get some fucking drinks and sit here and tell sex stories.
Okay, I like that too.
Yeah,
Cool.
okay, that's fun. Yeah, we'll do a themed episode. That's exciting.
Yeah, I would love to talk about sex with you guys.
About the sex you had with us, or about
well,
about sex?
I guess we'll find out next episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. The end of the plug, though, is I just love being around burlesque. I know I'm a long-winded fucker, but
perfect.
So I associate that with comedy, and I like that I recreate that environment. And then it's not stand-up, of course. It's just random people can put their name in the hat. We draw them up, and they get a chance to share a sex or dating story.
But you've got a panel of comics.
A panel of comedians, and we like ask questions and interview them, and then roast them, and then invite the audience to ask any questions they have, so that it's like a communal vulnerability thing, but it's just inherently funny because the kind of stories people would want to share are usually have some comedic element to it.
And also people's reaction to those stories brings out funny too.
Yeah, and then everyone being like, I can ask a question is just engages. And so the show's been popping, and it's super fun, and it's a great excuse to dress up and come out, and have like a nice night out.
Yeah.
And people are enjoying it, so please come hang out. I love it. It's super fun.
Fuck yeah. You said the last Friday of every month?
Last Friday of every month.
Nice.
And yeah, you guys should come out and tell stories.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, thanks for being on. This is a blast.
Thank you, man. Thank you guys.
Fucking amazing story.
Thank you.
That was a really good story.
Thank you. Yeah, and you guys are both great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it
Cheers.
was good stories.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing this. This has been great. This has been a fun way to kind of expand on this ability, like storytelling stuff, and also just
becoming better liars, you fuckers.
Becoming better storytellers.
Yeah. Well, let's do it. Fuck yeah.
Then the outro music plays, and there's like a midget who juggles.
That was great. I really enjoyed that.